me the light. Kids far and wide fear the dark. I don't know how many times I ran scurriedly down my hallway in the fear of something that hid in the shadows, I guess. But being scared of the dark is kind of vague. I think what we fear is what hunts only in the shadows. What has only known shadow its whole life. Not the nighttime werewolf or vampire. Those are stories. Something darker, something formless. We live in a world where force equals mass times acceleration. But the most forceful thing is an idea that has no mass, that has no acceleration. An idea is the greatest force. And it's funny how it exists outside of our little box of F equals MA, but I guess that makes sense. The greatest things don't fit in boxes. This trickster is the trickster that leads you into the desert. Honestly, think about it. Who in the world wanders into the middle of a desert? But stay with me. When you hear desert, what do you think of? Did you know that the Sahara Desert is about the size of the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii? Well, how big is Alaska? You can fit Texas into Alaska 2 times. Again, just Alaska can fit Texas, Cali, and Montana in it. And the Sahara Desert can fit the whole U.S. plus Alaska plus Montana. How can anyone find themselves in the middle of that? You think desert, I think sand, right? Desert, sand makes sense. But once again, I think that's vague. Pause. How many grains of sand is that? All right, my bad. What if that thing we run from, what if that shadow lurker, right? And I guess I'll call it Sogol, the opposite of logos. Logos being the ability to create through honest articulation of truth via detailed and objective perception, to truly unbiasedly see via an unfiltered lens. I say unfiltered because we want to leave behind all of our individual experiences, no interpretations, just logos. Truthful creation in the form of thought and speech. Sogol would be its adversary. The lies, the deception, the malevolence, just bad, hateful, envious, vengeful crap. The speeding of your heart when you're running down that dark hallway. We've all done it. The question remains, how can you find yourself in the middle of a desert? Who does that? And if they're there, then it pretty much is their fault, right? Is it peculiar to you that desert and desert are spelled similarly? The only thing missing is the S. The grains of sand we see when we think of desert, each grain is a lie, each grain is deception, each grain is malevolence, a half-truth. How many half-truths are we surrounded by? How many lies do you buy each day? When we take half-truths as whole truths, malevolence has a field day. How many lies do your eyes and ears consume on a daily basis? We eat them up. We eat them all up. Big smile, many moments of filtered glee. Just loving it. Eating your dessert. And it's only when the snake, the S, leaves dessert that you find yourself in the desert. Gas fuels the car that carries all whom reside in our desert. Again, gas is greed, anger, and stupidity. We always talk about all of our freedoms, but I think the number one freedom exercised is the freedom of stupidity, but that's for another day, another topic. Stupidity in the form of lies is our battleground. You think Sogol lurks in the shadows? Ha, no he doesn't. Put your popcorn down, this isn't a movie. There are no vampires, there are no werewolves here. Well, now that I think about it, vampires suck the life out of you and werewolves go on unconscious feeding frenzies under the light of the full moon. Could those be the representation through story and myth of lies? Mm. So in the desert, what do you have? Sun, sand, pretty much no water, and mirages, right? A few false alarms of Eden in the form of mirages. How can you get yourself out of the desert? If you're still with me, I'm about to get a little esoteric here. Water equals emotions, and there is no water, just sand, and sand is lies. And then, of course, we have mirages, which are false hope. And the sun, what is the sun? The way out, right? The sun is the way out of the desert. Huh? What? That makes no sense. Symbols exist outside of our alphabet. What cannot be formed in letters and description is displayed in symbols. Symbols are an art. What's hidden in between the lines of a poem, or the excitement we feel when we hear our favorite song. What captures you as you appreciate a great painting or a work of art are the symbols. Symbols are, for lack of a better word, magic. To live is to grow and to keep growing in all directions and at the same time. I am responsible for lies and truth. I can do nothing to change you now, but I can improve you by improving myself. Learning is establishing the reality of what we believe. Believing is the conviction behind that which we can't demonstrate, and truth is the congruence of belief/learning, and those things are congruently aligned with what is. Again, truth is congruence, a mapping of belief and or learning with what is, what truly is. So lies would be incongruence of what we think and what is. So why in the world would we ever lie? What gives life to lies? What feeds it? The something that feeds it is gas, right? It's your car. Greed, anger, stupidity. They lure you with dessert into the desert. Silly Billy. What now? Now you aim for the sun. There is no now, there is only the future and the past. You only think you're in the desert. The sun is the giver of life, so that symbol is truth. The way out of the idea of the desert is to aim at the sun, which is the truth. Or you can aim for the grains of sand, or you can aim for the mirages, but I think that just leads to more darkness. I say be the light. Thought deals only in ideas, with more ideas as a consequence. Belief is addressed in object. Thought is truth expressed in creation, and creation is thought in action. They never touch each other, as the sun never touches the earth, yet it gives us life. Virgin Mary, to love, to attract, to inspire, inward, outward, eternal growth. Be the light, logos, teller and wielder of truth. Or at least that's the way I see it. Put the motive in motivation. We can't get today tomorrow, but there's a little bit of yesterday in today.